Okay, ready for this time of self-inquiry. And I love that it happens in a group like this, like using all one mind, everybody's minds to kind of add together and see what happens as we take a look. And I thought I'd open today with a quote from Byron Katie. We're all children when we believe unquestioned nursery school thoughts. He doesn't like me. He's a bad person. It's not fair. I need to be punished. I'll cry to get what I want. I'm a victim. You are my problem. Have you graduated yet? I'm not taking that in any way as there's something wrong with me. Shouldn't be having these kinds of thoughts, because isn't it just what minds do? But I love that this is really a powerful opportunity to see what it is that's running within here and to question it. So just take a moment and notice. And I love that what we do first is allow anything that feels troubling or difficult to come into this safe container, this open space that we all actually are. Something that looks repetitive, difficult. When we say, boy, that's a problem. That it looks like a problem. And we're almost not just allowing it, almost saying, come on in. I want to get to know you. Letting the feelings appear. Looking at those situations that have looked really difficult. Anything we've encountered. And we can see, okay, I'm just might be having a thought. I might be having lots of thoughts about this situation, but boy, it keeps on coming back. I keep being nervous about it. Keep being upset. Keep noticing it appearing. So good for this process. Some part of ourselves doesn't quite trust, or doesn't want to let go, really wants to know the truth. So just letting yourself be with a situation that looks troubling, difficult, irritating, sad. See what it is that you have to say about that, or how would you name that or describe it? This is why I'm feeling sad is because, and what's the reason? As you look at that thing that where you feelings inside are troubled, gazing at this experience in life, about myself, about anyone else, about the world, and I feel trouble within. How would I put that? I'm upset because And you can share in the chat, just like Kansi just did. I'm never going to get where I want to be. Good one. And sometimes we can even be saying, I know that's not true. I know it's not true. And yet it appears and reappears. It's snagged on it in a way. Deborah says, I don't belong because of health challenges that put me on the sidelines. Yeah. Bonnie, it's hopeless. I will never be able to change and to let go of this weight. Yeah. They blame me. They see me as the bad guy. There are no good choices. I can't move forward with them. I need to get out. Karen, yeah. Anne, no one understands. Everyone has moved on. Charlotte, this isn't going to have a good ending. Health. Also good and also welcome here. And even just getting the sense of how it's okay that this thought is in there. In fact, I even really want to look. Wonderful that it's appeared. Chenua, I can't train my body to do Tai Chi well ever again. I see there's a few about the body here today. Yeah, what it's doing. Katie, I'm sad because the experience, intimacy, tenderness, and connection in my relationships seems to be so unavailable. Good one. Randy, I have to fix it. I have to get rid of it. This is threatening my health. Mary, I will never be in good athletic shape again, ever. Anne, I'll never get to hug my son again. Yeah. Okay, so good question here from Deborah. Grace, I get confused with positive thinking and not being able to stay with the great vibration, which supposedly will bring more trauma. Like if you're not kind of attuning to something different, you'll stay with the trauma. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one way to really, really look and like see. Sometimes we can scare ourselves. I need to get to that other place. And then you feel fear. And then we notice, oh, I've got this fear running and about my mind doing whatever it's doing. And then notice there's a thought there about I need to do something with this thought quick. Oh, quick. Oh my gosh, don't think about that terrible thing. And it almost makes it worse. It can almost make it like pouring kerosene on the fire a little bit. Yeah. So I love doing this with, just that I'm not afraid of my thoughts. I don't have to be afraid of my thoughts. They're just thoughts coming and going like the wind. And they might not be as important in every way I'm making them out to be when I see it like that. They're so powerful, these negative thoughts, or whatever, the thoughts that are frightening. I mean, and we all know how powerful it can feel to be having that pair of glasses on that looks like this is really dangerous. But just notice then I'm seeing myself like this is sort of powerful and I'm not so much and this is serious and all those kinds of things. So it's all right, whatever's present here. It's nice to see that it comes and goes. If the let's say the I don't know, like if there was a project here, I need to stay with a negative thought because then, something wonderful will happen. You wouldn't be able to stay with the negative thought either. Like, get so afraid of it. Oh my God, I hate that. But even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to stay with it. You'd forget about it. Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to be thinking about this horrible thing, would come along. So it's good to just look at, there's no fault. Thoughts are very, very volatile. They're very much coming and going. They just aren't as solid as we're thinking they are. So Katie says, it comes and goes, but every time the same thought comes, the same feeling comes. Yeah. I mean, it's good to notice that this thought is, my body feels that thought. My body just feels that thought, and that's the way it is. They kind of line up. I get disappointed and I feel disappointment in the body in the same way. I just feel it in there. Okay. And thoughts are very repetitive. So certainly nothing wrong with your mind that it kind of has the same story running. That's for sure. Well, so let's just, since there's been quite a few about, the body or the condition of the body and not liking what is happening. And you can substitute, if you're not really looking at physical body, you can just put in here today, like that relationship. It's not the way I want it to be. Doesn't look good. I don't like this condition of the relationship. I don't like where my life is. It's not where I want it to be. Don't like this situation. But in this case, body. My body should be different than it is. My body should be different than it is. And then this health condition is specifically. Okay, so everyone, you can see, so the invitation here is to actually, so really be, you really want to know the truth. I'm looking closely at this thing that looks pretty bad. It looks either mildly or greatly threatening to something, like me being able to participate, me being able to do things, not be on the sidelines, whatever. This is what this condition of the body causes. This is what the condition of the body or the relationship makes happen. Just notice those moments, that situation. Here I am, really looking. This is right in my face, the way the body is. And I don't like it. Okay. So let's hear from one person when it's really up and you're noticing and seeing that situation with the body, with your health, with whatever it is, that condition coming in. How would you say it? I know you've just shared in the chat, but let's hear from one person how you'd say it. I'm really upset with this because, upset with the appearance of this because, And let's just take one person. I'm on the sidelines of life, says Deborah. Okay. You want to actually speak out loud, Deborah? Is that okay? All right.
Hi, how are you, Grace?
I'm good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm gonna go in the other room so there's no noise.
Okay. So everyone, this was just kind of joining and looking at this human thought that you might have had too. It puts me on the sidelines. However that fits for you, and I'm not really in all the way. Like just how that sounds. I'm not in the middle of where I want to be. I'm over here on the edge because of this condition. In this case. Okay. All right, so let's do the work. So your health condition puts you on the sidelines of life. Is that true? Yeah. I love that your hand is on your heart.
What came up for me is I'm putting myself on the sidelines of life.
Okay. Well, you could be onto something there and just seeing the turnarounds fast. And let's
Stick with it, yes.
stick with it because sometimes there can be blame in that when we just go straight to, oh God, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
It feels true, but I know from doing the work that it's not. So, yeah.
okay. Well, I think that's important. Something about it feels true, even though the mind might come in and talk about how well. So just check a little bit longer. Like, can I absolutely know it's true, even though, you might have seen in other situations, but can you absolutely know? Like, really, if you're the only person that's answered, no supposed to or no past reference at all, just does it look like this health condition puts me on the sidelines? Puts me, yeah, not completely, fully in the middle of that.
No, I can't know that it's absolutely true.
Okay. So let's see if anyone else, when you, hear this question for your situation, what's your answer? Mary says yes. Is it true? Yes. Never be that way again. I'll never have that health, the way it was again. Charlotte says yes. No wrong answer. Anne says yes. Bonnie says yes. Isn't that good to see how it's strong? It's not just a quick, I wonder. Many yeses. I do not see one single no. Sharing. It really looks like this condition, the state of this thing that I'm looking at, in this case called health, is preventing me to be fully in. It's putting me on the sidelines. Okay. And I love that there's no wrong answer. Who knows? It's like just really sitting with it and seeing, okay. Yeah, what's really true for me as I'm looking? So what happens, Deborah, when you believe this, when you think it, when it just kind of repeats, it comes up again? Your health is putting you on the sidelines.
Well, first of all, I want to say with all the yeses, it makes me cry because I feel not alone in
No,
that feeling and that things. So first of all, thank you for all being honest, because it feels like a yes, but I
Yeah.
guess I get through.
Yeah.
So I feel sad. I feel tremendously sad, lost, sometimes angry and jealous that people can have like a normal dynamic life, it seems like, without even thinking about it, without even trying to process anything. But I guess the main thing that it would make me feel is sad, lost.
Yeah. Isn't that good to see all those, just the images of other people having what they have? And I don't get it. And I'm so sad that I don't get that. Such a good one. Yeah. Really powerful. Aaron says, I feel pissed off and then abandoned. And Mary, heartbroken. Anyone else? And anyone else that wants to share out loud, you can do that too. Ludo says, depressed. How do I react? I feel depressed. Charlotte, depressed. It's good to see that the quality and like the color tone and what it's like.
Invisible and unloved.
Invisible and unloved. Yeah. Bonnie, separate, alone, hopeless. Randy, jealous. Mary, also jealous. I feel like letting it all in here. Ah, Ludo, envious. And Aaron, cut off, cut out. Yeah, how do you, it's interesting, Deborah, like there you are, you're kind of on the sidelines, like that great image, because it's like sidelines are like games, the play is in the middle and you're not in it. You're watching somehow, or, whatever, however we call the sidelines. And just seeing that's better over there. The images that come along, that looks better over there. I can't help it. I mean, just the mind just showing those images of how this is not good over here. It's less than that.
And then if I was healthy, I could be myself.
Ah, yeah. Good one. So pictures and images of what being yourself looks like or feels like. What do you imagine in there? Like when you see being myself, and this is damping down being myself. What does that feel like being yourself is?
I had been helping people with musicals on self-worth, real creative, dynamic. I was able to help. I was the helper instead of the person like that might be abandoned or overlooked. I felt like I was purposeful in life, that I meant it's almost like it's almost like the private thought is God would keep me in the game because I was making a difference. But now that I'm not able to do any of, well, I am, but not like I had been. I watch other people do it effortlessly, and it feels like, that gets you removed from life.
Ah, okay. And that, I mean, I get it. Can follow that, I'm somehow removed from life. And you see how you treat life almost like as an energy or as some kind of force or something that's going on there, and just kind of being honest about how life is. How do you see it? Or, I like that. How do you treat it? What's the energy like between you and whatever that is when you're believing health is keeping me from you, life?
Exactly. Exactly that. Sorry.
Okay. Anne says, unequipped for life, unworthy. Like I somehow am here without all the equipment. Chenua, I see images of me feeling uncomfortable in my body and not being able to have fun because I'm uncomfortable. It's depressing. And Katie, I feel sad and blocked off from joy and vitality and connection to my natural self. Isn't that powerful? Yeah. Ludo, I make comparisons all the time. Yeah. I almost think that's like the mind is just this amazing machine of comparison. Oh, I see that. Oh, like it's just so quick. It just takes it in so fast. Mary, back and forth between yearning for it and trying to hold on to getting it and just giving up on wanting any of it anymore. And Anne, sure that others are having a better time, a happier life because they are better and more lovable than me. They contribute and I don't. Ah, yeah. So it's a good one, like Deborah, that was in there with yours. I'm a helper. I'm making a difference. I have something to offer here. And now it's diminished. And it's just good to see this underlying thought. It's better to be a helper, than, or I even know what a helper is versus not a helper. Like a giver, not a taker, or that, and it doesn't mean there isn't something natural in us that loves to connect and join with and give and offer. But there's something that comes in and judges what a lot is and what not helping is, and that it's better to help. So Chenua says, I compare me with the other Tai Chi practitioners and imagine that I need to do a lot of remedial exercises, whereas they can just jump in. And Bonnie, I have to change this, but I can't. Wow. Yeah. I can't change this. And then, oh, you have the feeling. And Ludo, I try to force myself to like my condition and I feel powerless. That's a good one too. Just be happy with what this is, yeah. But I'm forcing something here. So how do you treat the health condition or the thing that you're looking at? Like this, absence of being where you want to be, absence of intimacy, absence of health, this condition. How do you treat that when you look at it?
Well, first of all, I want to say once again, everybody, thank you for being honest. I really don't feel alone. I felt alone in this question, and I see that maybe it's more out there than I thought.
Yeah.
I think that my biggest issue is a sense of belonging. We all want to belong. And so I try so hard to get well. And if I can't, if I can't get there, then I feel like I've failed. I feel like that means that love will be taken away, that it won't belong, which it, helps make that even more powerful. Sometimes there's rage and, tremendous anger at myself. But I would say in the last maybe 3 months, I've been doing everything that I can to change my, doing the work, doing everything that I can to change this feeling. So I have been working on it, but I have to say that for a long time, it's a feeling of despondency, a drowning.
Yeah. Okay, since this is here, I want to get I'd like to get my thinking right about it or open to it somehow, but it is the cause of, I would just I love noticing that thing, but I would just be so happy if it went away. If this stopped. You know, that thing inside is just like, please, can this just go away? So how do I treat it? It's like it really is preventing me from feeling loved and lovable. This thing has to change outside of me for me to stop experiencing this.
Me to belong.
To belong, yeah, to belong, to really belong. Which is you know, I don't know, just so powerful to see. And of course the mind would see it that way because it remembers, you know, having health and remembers being other ways and what it feels like, and it can recall that, you know, like it's filed in there and somehow, and yet then it's anti what the current state is. You know, it's got kind of this, I'm opposed to it. All right. Yeah, Charlotte says it's the enemy. It's being done to me and it's separate from me. Yeah, it looks like this thing that's coming in and disturbing my peace, my life, my capacity to help. Yeah, that I don't belong. And Katie says, I avoid it. I shut off. I ignore the situation. If it's not thought about, I don't have to experience the painful feelings. That's a really good one. Yes. Like, just quick, don't think about it. Yeah, get out of this. Right. Even like I can see getting upset with having thoughts about it. I wish my mind would just, you know, stop thinking about this. What's wrong with my mind? All right, I was just noticing I don't know, the wish and the desire and the thing that just holds on to this really, oh my gosh, if it just please, oh please could be different, you know, then I'd be okay. Then I'd feel settled. Then I'd feel like I belong. You know, I actually love the word belong because it has the root of longing in it. That when we humans belong, there is just the very nature of how that is to belong, is that there is a longing. There's an awareness of this life is temporary. And I can, you know, I can imagine so much. Yeah, I'm being longing. And that's human. There's something about the paradox of existence. Yeah. So let's see, you know, what happens. So you've got this thing and it looks like if this was gone, surely it would be better. I'm just pretty darn sure it would be better. I'd be able to do all these things, you know, help, belong. Yeah, and as Anne says, longing to be or experience what I think I see other people having, right? It's so good to see that it looks like I'm separate. I'm a separate entity. And it does look like we're in this unit, this body, you know, assigned to this that had this birthday and was called this name. And who are you without the story? So who would you be without the thought? And this is not, it's very strange, not an attempt to get rid of the thought like it's a bad thought, but just looking at this condition, being with it, and just sitting with it and wondering if I wasn't able to think, it would be better if this was gone, if this was different? Who would you be? What would you be? What if this was enough? It's just, just opening to that. And it doesn't mean I'm resigned. To ask this question doesn't mean fine, I'll just accept it. There's nothing, I have to accept it, like resignation, like that. Or like just, I wonder if I've missed something here. And says, maybe it's not personal. That's a good thing to see. Yeah, without the thought and all the accompanying I thoughts, my life, and I need to be helping. That was better when I helped more. I don't help so much now. Like I don't have that story because what I just noticed that's stressful. And Christine says, I would be curious. And Randy, calmer, more likely to invite others in, more likely to feel a part of. That's a good way to think of it with, who would I be without the story? This condition separates me from life. What if it didn't?
I know that I would be happier. I feel like I would be happy. I feel like I'd be myself, but I love the idea of whoever just said that, you wouldn't have a boundary. There'd be no line in the sand.
Ah, yes.
Without the thought, there'd be no line in the sand. So that thought would be impossible.
Yes.
But a feeling would be impossible.
Yes. Yeah, no. Yeah. No separation where I'm held back. There's a life where you're totally in it, and this is not that. I don't even know. Let's just the I don't know space, because we don't, because it looks like in reality, I don't know, even though our minds can compare so well and see different things that are going on, it looks like there are health conditions. It looks like the bodies don't last, put it that way. It looks like things happen and change. Chenoa, I'd be present, calm, with the tension in my body instead of avoiding and intensifying it. Ah, nice. Yeah. Just noticing this experience that we're calling tension, just being with it. And Anne, maybe I could accept and even enjoy my limitations. And see the ways that are not being able to rush around is actually a blessing. Maybe this is another way of being that consciousness wants to experience. Beautiful. And Charlotte, it feels like a new beginning of something different, more relaxed. Katie, more spontaneous, more open, seeing what's already here rather than what isn't. That's kind of nice. Yeah. Noticing subtle feelings and moments of intimacy that are not obvious because they are drowned out by the overriding thought. Right? Isn't that great to see? Even with health, we kind of miss, here's a condition that's visiting, and we'll see just not health, not health, not health, like, and that's great to see where, if there's no line, what is happening here? Like just if I'm just open. And Bonnie, I'd surrender to what is. And it occurs to me that maybe I could have a peaceful life without being sick. That's good. Makes me laugh. Maybe it is helping me to see what's possible. What I love about that is just notice there's kind of a turnaround in here. Has this condition, this state of affairs, benefited you in some way? Is it supporting something? And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. I mean, just seeing, just noticing, how is it that how it is a good thing or supportive or interesting? Is it keeping anything else that I'm afraid of away? And An says, maybe my body is saying something and I need to listen. So my body doesn't need to listen to me. I need to listen to it. That's nice. Yeah.
I know that for me, I've learned about self-love through this whole experience. I could love everybody else real easily. So one of the most profound lessons that I've gotten is self-love.
Wow.
And it's also made me realize it's actually taking down walls to love in some ways.
Yeah.
Because I think that the illness or the, you know, at least a lot of the health things that were happening for me were things that I harbored, hurts,
Yeah.
past. And so this is making me strip those away and become vulnerable and naked to the world too. So in one way, I'm actually more available, more loving, more kind, more giving, but it's not the way that society maybe looks at it. It's different. It's coming from
Great.
before. Instead of let me show you what I can do, let me show you who I am.
Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah.
But I'd rather
Yeah. Well, how is that a good thing? That there you are. So that's one example. Like I'm actually more like rawly myself. I'm just who I am that shows up this way. This is what it's like right now and in this time. And how else does that benefit? How does it benefit the world?
Oh boy. It benefits the world because I can feel like there's more light, true light coming out of me. Before it was creative talents or talents, and now it's essence, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Runs deep. It's like in this cellular thing. So I might have more time to talk to somebody in a supermarket and thank them for being kind. Or I
Mm,
might have more time to, spend with my grandchild or our grandchildren and be totally available because I'm not thinking about what I want to do, quote unquote, for the world. It's actually in the tinier, smaller things. I'm more present. I guess that's it. I'm more present. And when I'm happy, I mean, when I say when I'm happy, when I am feeling good
uh,
or feel like things are moving in the right direction or I have miracles, the gratitude is like almost down to my knees, drop to my knees and like know that there's something there supporting me. So I guess another thing is a better connection with God, or, whatever you believe.
mhm. Yeah.
Not feeling like I totally belong there.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Well, I like if you even saying that with life, how it feels like I'm separated from life, like being in the middle of life, but I'm not separated from life. I'm, I belong in life this way. Yeah. And this is where I'm called to attend to, or be connected to these grandchildren and this empty moment and this something, whatever's there. I like how Christine says, I'd be open to seeing what is this thing I'm actually missing out on. That's kind of cool. And Chenua, this is supporting me to become more aware of my anatomy and keep returning to the basics and learn more simple exercises that help. It's supporting me to love my body and learn not to blame me or it. Yeah. I sometimes think of that as like just normal, regular human, being human. Nothing like, well, the mind will talk about it's how you're wrong and you should be in this other place. But like, it's just okay, just part of the greater community of humanity and interested in learning in this particular way, Tai Chi in this case. And it's made me very creative and resourceful. I have a very flexible schedule and life out of necessity. If I felt better, I'd likely be out in the world taking care of other people in more physical ways. My health issues have taught me to be more vulnerable and compassionate. It's less of a physical giving. It's more of an emotional and spiritual giving. I like what you said about essence. Yeah, Deborah. And Chenua, I have a much better understanding of what beginners and people with stiff bodies and other physical limitations are dealing with. Mary, I'm increasingly loving and appreciating taking walks in nature. I don't take it for granted at all. It's not a small thing, a gift. And Charlotte, many emotions and thoughts have come up to be worked through. I love myself more. I feel more connected to others. I feel more love for others. Mary, this way is deeper and more humble. And Anne, less attachment to being in a physical body, more of a desire to stretch my understanding of spirituality. Sometimes some might notice what's good about this current condition, what's favorable about it, it's beautiful, is it might be, there's can be some thinking in there that it's protecting me from something, which is a good one to, like, if suddenly it was gone, that's a good way to look at it. If suddenly this thing was gone, it's fixed. Boom. Right now, it's fixed. It's, life just waved a magic wand, and this is, boom, it's over. What would be scary about that?
For me, I know that I'm really conscious of that because this seems to happen more right when I'm going to have a tremendous success. So it's probably the fear of failure or maybe even the opposite, success, what that might look like, fully succeeding when I had a lot of stuff in my past where people didn't want me to like success was maybe not a good thing.
Sure. And so just seeing how that might even work for me, instead of being like, oh, well, then the mind can go off into, well, I better fix that, or better undo that thought, or better just trusting maybe there's something there that's all right about it, but just relaxing with everything that's seen there. Mary says that protection from the seduction of ego successes, prowess, an arrogant, superficial path. Wow. Yeah. If I had this, it might, yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's turn it around. Okay. Just seeing that, in this world of duality, like just opening to, if I didn't believe this, just allowing that to be present, like all is well in the moment. So this condition is okay. my health condition is preventing me. It's preventing me from being in the game. Like it's keeping me on the sidelines. And you can do this, and this is done without any blame or any kind of ownership, but my thinking is keeping me on the sidelines. And that doesn't mean my thinking is the wrong kind of thinking, it's just looking at how it sees things. It just is it's very simple in many ways, thought. It just goes sidelines. Okay. Maybe it's even trying to do that in service to you. But my thinking is keeping me on the sidelines, especially when it comes to this health condition. My thinking is yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's not even a doubt, makes me want to sob. That it's my thinking, because I'm the one that's drawing the line in the sand. I know what it feels like to have rejection, whoever said abandoned, feeling abandoned. And so the thinking is keeping me from just putting my heart all in. Because I don't want to be rejected for a feeling of limitation.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. It's like, why couldn't I be all in, even with this health situation? Just trust the health situation and just let it, yeah, not have to go to fighting with it, but just be all in. as it is. So my thinking keeps me somewhere, and just noticing. I put on the pair of glasses that, so everything that I look at is sidelines, left out because of this, or however it is. Not wanted, not needed. It's nice to know then because if it's my thought, it's an I am not my thinking. It doesn't mean it's the truth. Okay, so let's turn it around again. This condition puts me on the sidelines. It doesn't, just the simple opposite. This condition even puts me right in the middle of life. How could that be true?
It's true for me, because I have to use different talents to try on different things that I haven't been used to before. And it heightens my senses to a certain way. And the love is more real between people. It might not be as many people, but the people that it is with seems to be deepening rather than being limited.
Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's kind of like, I just get this picture of going deeper down, into the earth or up into or something. It feels very, yeah, whatever we mean by deep, but I get it. It's offering something that's in an invitation. This is not what I think it's doing. It's not keeping me from, it's inviting me to. Yeah. Anne says, it puts me in the middle of the life I'm meant to have. It's a quiet little life. with people who enjoy me as I am and are not trying to change me. So sweet, really. Yeah. Anyone else? A big example. It's actually not keeping me from what I want. Could that be true? And you can even just, hold it and then see. Maybe you're going to find out. Charlotte, it's inviting me to go deeper into myself. Wow. That's big. Chenoa, it's calling me to be more unconditionally present with my body and myself. Yeah, I just had the thought, if I had a terminal condition, which I know we can all joke, well, we do, because we're not going to be here for, there's going to be an end. But if you knew there was like a, ailment, cancer or something, and it was the end is coming, and it's just more real, like in the body. Wouldn't it be an incredible experience to make peace with that somehow? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing to touch the place that is already at peace with that trusts what's happening? And we're not saying the mind wouldn't be just going all over the place sometimes, but that it can also relax. Trust it's not in charge of everything of life. Something else, some other kind of intelligence is just happening here. Nobody even knows what's going on. We're just alive, just find ourselves here. Wow. Katie says, I'm a bit lost now. I guess that's okay. It's my first time doing this. Oh, welcome, Katie. That's great. Yeah. I'd say it's seeing, how it be that this is supporting me in some way. It's actually not doing what I'm thinking it's doing, keeping me from something great, keeping me from something important. And if you're not sure, like, how is it? Could that possibly be true? Just sort of wait and let yourself percolate on it and say, well, yeah, I always wanted to get to be more comfortable with silence. There's a quote by, I can't remember who it is. I think Blaise Pascal or somebody like that said, if the only thing a human learns is how to be just alone in a room, you got it. Because we'll be like alone with our thoughts. So he's somehow supporting, just showing us, wow, like how uncomfortable we are. And then that's just thought. It's not really who we are. So Anne says, my connections are more reciprocal and caring now, and the others have fallen away as I'm not able to do as much for them. And I learned to prioritize me. And isn't that a huge thing to like say, oh, I'm the number one entity here to care for. That's okay. Christine, I have become more human and open to acknowledging and feel my feelings that I didn't know were there. Wow. And Mary, it kept me out of the competition and gave me so much of life that there is outside of that. Yeah. Kind of makes me think of like seeing a race, like the term sidelines. And if you're in the race, isn't it nice to stop the race and kind of just watch, see what else is going on besides just the race, just the middle of the game. Yeah. Wonderful. I love that. And thank you to Deborah for that inquiry. I'm trying to see if there's any other turnarounds. I think, yeah, I think we got them. Anyone want to share anything? Any feedback? Just anything that you noticed?
I just had one thought, Grace, as you said something about the sidelines. You know, I think even if I felt well, I would still tend to be someone who was kind of, I don't know, watching from the outside. I went to a memorial recently and I was the only one that sat outside the church and listened from there. And, you know, I got to be in the sunshine and there were birds around and I could still hear the singing, but I wasn't pressed in around a lot of people. And, you know, so maybe it's just showing me that I'm more of a sidelines person.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like to be on stage. I don't like to be in the midst of everything. I find that stressful. So maybe my body's just helping me.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And there's a lot going on out there. The birds. And the sun.
Yeah, I like it better.
Yeah. Ooh, there's lots out here in the Netherlands, you know.
Well, yeah, and I think I've had, because of some of the health conditions, I've had a lot of practice kind of being separate in that way. And so I didn't mind that people might think it was weird because I thought it was great. And, you know, it was okay to be out there.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so sweet, really. Charlotte says, I love that you said with myself alone in a room, because that is where I want to get. You know, and just try this on for a moment or just drop this in and you can kind of percolate with it is what if I really am already okay being alone with myself in a room more than I realize. It's just that there's a lot, the mind turns on and has lots and lots of thinking. It's okay that it does. I believe me, that happens in my mind too. I'm just say, like the idea that I don't actually have to get somewhere later. There's some part of me that is there right now. It's actually already there. It's just more okay than you ever realize. Because here it is, here you are. Even without a thinking that happens. But what about, well, wait a minute, I don't know, just doing all this thing, but it really is okay. And Christine says, I love that I have so many peeps here in this space. Yes. Here we all are going, whoa, my thoughts, oh my God. It's great. I like that too. And here we all go, wow. Don't have to believe everything I think. I really don't. Okay, my friends, so great to be with you all. We'll see you next time. Lots of love.